we're live.
Are we live?
We're live.
Should we do it in the car lot? Welcome everyone to a WoW podcast, obviously live from Gamescom 2024.
We did it!
There's an audience here and everything. Oh, it's amazing. Welcome.
Wow.
Hello. Sorry for the inconvenience there. Sorry for the inconvenience of people watching at home who
much
were
better.
all queuing up for our scheduled broadcast, and then I pressed the button twice, which started the stream and then cancelled the stream.
Yeah.
So I had to do a whole other thing. It's fine. It's brilliant. Welcome to the podcast where we're going to be talking about World of Warcraft, obviously, and the new expansion and everything like that. And it's going to be laser focused.
Absolutely.
As our podcast
No
always is.
diversions.
So we're only going to be talking about World of Warcraft. We're only going to be talking about Khadgar and Dalaran, and we're definitely not going to be talking about the fact that Evitel was up all night being sick multiple times.
Excuse me.
There was some fish jiff going on.
Yeah, some
You
fish
had
dip.
some fishes.
Okay, so the German word for monkfish is like Seeteufel. It's like sea devil. And I saw that on the menu and I was like, I want the sea devil.
You got the sea
I
devil.
got the sea devil.
And when it arrived, you were so thrilled. You were like, well, I was expecting scallops, but this is just as good. And then you were chowing down, and honestly, I have never seen anyone enjoy a dish so much in their entire life. Every now and then, she'd put down a knife and fork, and she'd be like, this devilfish is amazing.
It's incredible.
It is so good. And I was like, I'm thrilled that you're enjoying your meal so much. This is brilliant. And you know, we went home and you got up multiple times in the night, going out to be sick and blaming the monkfish.
It's true. Tally, we're getting some feedback from our live stream that the volume is low.
Yeah, it's going to be low, guys. Just crank it up.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
our motto.
To make you feel better, people at home, it's very loud here.
Yeah, it's like blindingly loud. It's
Yeah,
so loud,
I
it's
got
making
it.
people blind.
Okay, Tally, what episode is this?
This is episode number 24.
Oh, very fitting.
24
for-
episodes of this podcast, and we're already here at Gamescom.
We're at Gamescom
That's
2024.
massive success, I think.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I just want to finish off the monkfish story.
Yes,
You blame the
continue, please.
monkfish.
Yeah.
I blame the two Negronis, bottle of wine, and ouzo that you had last night. I just think maybe it's the way that mixed with the monkfish in your tummy.
Yeah, it was like an alchemical reaction.
I knew it was gonna. I knew it was gonna be a tough night when we got into the hotel room, and you know it was late at night. We had a brilliant time. We'd been at the hotel bar, married couple away from the kids for the weekend, you know.
Oh.
And I was a bit like, ha ha. But as Evitel came into the room, she was just like, why do men love boobs? And I was like, okay. Straight to bed for us then. But why, though? And I was like, I can try and explain it to you
why?
if you want, but I don't think you really want to hear it, do you? And that was the
Well,
monkfish that did
it
that.
was the monkfish
It was the monkfish
talking.
that did it, definitely,
It
not
was
the bottle of
the
wine.
monkfish,
So,
absolutely.
we are live right next to the WoW booth here.
Right over there.
And the thing we haven't actually been able to experience much yet, but there's a 4D ride
Yes.
going on, the Escape from Dalaran.
Have you done it yet, Tally?
I haven't done the Escape from Dalaran. Are there people in the audience here that have?
Yeah, you have.
Mr. GM told me it was the best thing he's ever done in his life.
No exaggeration.
And I believe him. No, and Mr. GM's life is so much better than mine that if I do that ride, nothing else is going to compare. It's going to ruin my life if I do
true.
that ride.
It's true.
But I've heard, and this is why I've got to do it. Maybe not for you with your tummy.
Oh, yeah.
But I've heard that at the end, maybe you don't escape from Dalaran.
What?
And maybe that's because of a close encounter of the mother kind. Of the voidy kind.
Ooh.
This is what I've heard. If it's basically going to turn into a dating simulator with me and Zalatath, I'm absolutely in for it. A 4D Zalatath dating simulator.
Hold
so
on.
we live streamed the launch of Early Access. Yeah, let's hear it for Early Access!
Yeah. Yeah.
Bunch
okay.
of shills in this audience.
Hey, to be fair,
I hate Early Access. There, I said it.
Oh, you
Cancel
put it
my
on the
WoW
tip.
shill membership. I think it's the worst. Boo! Boo Early Access. Well, not boo for me, because I've
No.
got it, so I'm fine. But I feel sorry for everyone that doesn't have it. I think it's very bad. It's not good for the game. There, I said it.
okay, you got that out. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Tally. But we have been, we've played a little bit. We streamed midnight when it came out.
No, that's the next expansion.
Yeah. At
That is
midnight.
early access.
Exactly. That is super early access.
It's good. You're going to like it.
Yeah, we played a couple of hours.
Very sad.
We did a couple of hours, and And that was it. We got it through the intro scenario.
Oh, so yeah, basically what we saw was actually very difficult to stream on a PC that you've never streamed before, with a mouse that you've never just streamed on before.
No.
And I felt so ashamed that people could see my true Shadow Priest skills without the buttons.
Well,
By
you
the
only
way,
had 2 buttons on that mouse.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to blame it. I need a mouse with at least
You're like a
12
20-button
buttons.
man.
And he kill I. I need my thing coming up as well.
Yeah.
But no, like so. It's very strange doing those opening quests as a Shadow Priest. And I feel like it's going to be very strange playing the majority of this expansion as a Shadow Priest. I feel like now this is what Warlocks must have felt like in Legion. This idea that we're fighting this huge force, and like literally all the baddies are purple. And all the baddies are shooting void stuff at you the whole time. And all the goodies are kind of like waving swords of light and going, we must defeat the darkness this day.
Yeah.
And I'm there going, yeah, Mind Blast, Void Form, zappy
Just
orb thing.
Just a touch of darkness,
yeah,
really.
exactly. And I can't help but feel that Faye and Lothar, every time we go and kill some baddies together, is just kind of giving me the side eye a little bit, like asking Anduin, she's with you, right?
Yeah.
She's okay? You can vouch for it? I don't know. There's just something about her. I don't trust her. So yeah, I feel a bit self-conscious that all of my abilities are very, very Void-themed.
I'm kind of the opposite opinion. I feel like the only way to play the War Within is as a Void Elf Shadow Priest.
Possibly so. Quick
like
straw poll of the audience here.
Yeah.
Who started a Void Elf Shadow Priest in the run-up to the War Within?
No.
No. Okay, thank you.
There they are.
A lot of class loyalty in this audience. No, they're the baddies, and also Void Elves.
Tally, can we crank the sound at all?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No, you have to crank it your end. Can't do it. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what to say. I can try. You start talking.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk a little bit about our experience playing through that first bit. Tally also has a very, what's the word for it? Compelling crackpot theory about the true identity of Khadgar.
I have got the best theory, the best lore theory. Evie, book the tickets to Vegas, buy a new house, look on the expensive part of the website, because this theory is going to make us.
Really?
This lore theory is going to launch us into the stratosphere. This lore theory is going to make us the most, I mean, we already are like world famous WoW YouTubers, but this theory is going to make us the most famous and fated WoW YouTubers of all time.
Wow.
Because they'll be like, from now on, it won't be Taliesin and Evitel, like that's the one that Asmongold hates, right? No, it will be Taliesin and Evitel. They're the ones that came up with that amazing theory that turned out to be completely true, and my theory is this. Locust Walker is Khadgar from the future.
Hold on.
I know.
You're
I
gonna
know
have
what
to
you're
explain
thinking.
this one.
You're thinking that's the worst thing I've ever heard. You've just made that up. It's very stupid. And in theory, I kind of agree with you, but you're going to have to hear me out on this one, okay? 2 things that need hearing out on this podcast. 1, Ian Hazzikostas, hear me out with his new beard.
Yeah.
Did we all see that? We were waiting for our delayed flight from the airport, as is tradition, and I was scrolling through, and Ian Hazzikostas was doing a live interview with IGN. He was wearing a very nice cord overshirt, which inspired me to try and wear my cord overshirt to Gamescom yesterday. Massive mistake, shouldn't have done that. I'd be wearing literally nothing if I could get away with it right now. And I don't know if you noticed, but Ian Hazzikostas, game director of World of Warcraft, has a very sexy beard now. And it is very becoming of him, and I just think we all would. That's all.
Yeah.
With him and Xalatath, I think we've got all our bases covered. And we did an interview with him yesterday, and
which we have some very exciting
and
things to
Evitel was
share
like,
from
do
that.
not do that first
So I was
opening
like,
question.
Tally,
Don't this first question, don't do it. And I was like, I won't. But I did. And the second we sat down to interview, I was like, well, the burning question for everyone, Ian, did you base this on Anduin, or did Anduin base it on you?
Yeah.
And we've agreed, like the whole new Anduin model was based on Ian Hazzikostas and his beautiful beard.
Yeah, not the other way around.
Yeah, but we'll get onto that
Absolutely.
theory, and we'll explain to you why Locust Walker is Khadgar from the future.
Yeah.
But of course, and like, you know, so as we went into the War Within, and we can discuss Dalaran now, right? That's a spoiler. We've been kind of keeping it under wraps.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just get this out of the way. There will be spoilers in this discussion. So if
Are they even spoilers anymore that the game is out, though?
I mean,
I don't think it counts as a spoiler. If the game is
Dalaran's
out,
right
the
there.
escape for everyone that goes on the ride, Escape from Dalaran, everyone that's been playing the game, sat home, playing the video game World of Warcraft, they're going to know what happens to Dalaran.
It's true.
So, rip people who don't have early access.
I think we can treat this as a non-spoiler.
It was very strange because when we were streaming, we had people who were watching the stream, and we were like, well, presumably there's no one who doesn't have early access watching this stream because of spoilers and stuff. And the majority of people who were watching the stream didn't have early access, and they were like, this is there's no avoiding spoilers, right? There's no avoiding story spoilers, so this is how we do it. We have to watch a stream so we can kind of at least experience it in real time. Very sad. Boo early access.
Yeah.
Good for us, we've got more viewers, but
Yeah. We'll see if it's something that pops
swings
up
and
again in the future.
roundabouts, give and take.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still trying to crank this sound, people at home, but it's a slow process. I do apologize.
Yeah.
So, the main thing that happened on launch night, which was incredibly smooth, by the way.
It was so smooth that the opening quest popped 5 minutes early.
Yeah, I was incredibly surprised. I was like cleaning out my bags, doing my homework on the bus, like finally getting round to it, typing delete individually for every kind of like nonsense Dragonflight currency that I had in my bags. And then suddenly Moira's voice pops up going, oh my goodness, he's awake. You'll have to get here right now. And it was early. I was not expecting him to wake up yet. And we got our opening scenario for the Fall of Dalaran, something that we've been looking forward to for a long time, because we've known ever since the beta hit that Dalaran was going to fall, it was going to get destroyed, there were bits of it on the beach, and that is a difficult secret to keep. Blizz are very pleased with us all for keeping it so well. People that watch our videos also pleased that we kept it so well. I got no grief from anyone talking about Dalaran at any point. It was fantastic. So we finally got the cinematics that go with it, though, and there's just something about a launch day, isn't there?
Oh,
there's something
there's
about
nothing like it.
when those cinematics hit, and especially when we're away and I can't do a cinematic analysis of it, so I can just sit there, enjoy it, lap it up. It was incredible.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on? So we had the reveal of Xal'atath in Dalaran, who was Archmage Drendon all along.
Oh, we never saw that one coming.
Blew my mind. I was like, but he's our friend.
My favorite,
He's been talking so nicely.
They milked it so much, and it was just so great, like seeing those lines where he's talking to you and he's like, oh, what a shame it would be if something were to happen to our wonderful floating city. Yeah, so I actually loved how campy he was. They really milked it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's too much.
Oh, too much.
Too much crank.
No such thing.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Okay, I think that's going to do it, actually. Sorry for everyone's ears at home, but I think that will be better now. There we go. Beauty. Okay, lush. Yeah, so, I thought the reveal of Xal'atath as Drendon was wonderful. And I agree with you. I've heard lots of different opinions on Archmage Drendon when he popped up in the Dark Heart quests, because he was so obviously sus. He was so obviously Xal'atath when he turned up, and everyone was like, Archmage Drendon, I thought you were dead. And he was like, well, no, I've just been away, twiddling his moustache as he goes, like glowing purple eyes. and the Council of Six were like, well, Kalagos has just stepped down. We do have a position. Yeah. Since it turns out you're not dead, come join the team. Tell us, what have you been up to? And he's just been like, this and that. And then he was sitting very, very suspiciously on his chair for a long time until the Dark Heart quest. And I've heard opinions from the WoW community that is bad writing because, obviously it's Xal'atath, and what possible excuse do the people of Dalaran have to not realize that there's something incredibly suspicious about this guy?
Yeah.
But I love that. I absolutely love that it was, we call it in the trade dramatic irony, when the audience knows something that the characters don't. That's my GCSE English literature going on there.
Well done, babes.
I got an A star, don't worry about it.
Hey, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud.
I just want to side note, let you know that you have decimated the ears of all of our viewers at home by cranking up the volume.
They were like, Tally, crank it, so I cranked it, man.
He's like, you want volume?
You want to be careful what you wished for.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have maybe warned you that I was cranking it. Yeah, okay.
I think they're okay now.
Good. I loved it. I loved the fact that he was very obviously a baddie, and that no one knew, and no one could work it out. Like, the characters, the Planeteers being so dumb. And then I loved that reveal where he kind of extended like
you
long
can
leg
see
style.
it coming from a mile
Yeah,
away.
it was
as
so
it
good.
kind of steps behind your character. And can I just say those little animated sequences that we've seen so far, just in that opening scenario, were so good. Like the animation has just jumped up by miles. Like it's super fluid. Like characters are so expressive and responsive. Like Anduin can look truly sad now. Like before we knew he was sad. He's a bit.
He's a man of sorrows.
He is. He carries great burdens on his shoulders. But now just seeing his eyes and his little face, it's a joy. And then of course seeing in this case your character looking absolutely splendid.
Yeah.
In her Warhammer.
I spent my entire build up to the war within getting my transmog on point because I know how important those early cutscenes are, and I like to have a record of them. I've got a hard drive with my character just looking boss next to Jaina in lots and lots of different situations in game. And there's some really, really good ones in the war within, and loads throughout the questing as well. So I hear too, which we haven't really had a chance to get into. I'm saying that I'm standing in solidarity with people that don't have early access, right? So I'll start doing it properly, on stream on Monday when there's the proper launch, and also when there are Twitch drops.
It's true. So we will be doing that live on Monday. The usual tuxedos, glass of whiskey.
But
and,
I was expecting the reveal of Xalatath to be explosive. Right. I was expecting it to be kind of, she erupts in purple kind of voidiness, and she's there, and it's all glorious, and all hell breaks loose. And I was actually really, that's what I would have done. This is why they don't let me on the cinematic team. That and many other reasons. And I love how they went for the more kind of quiet sort of horror reveal,
Yeah.
The sort of
wrap
it up.
Speaking of horror reveals.
Yeah,
wow,
I know.
Wow,
I thought maybe we had some actual images to use then, but we don't.
It's just Xalatath.
But I thought it was really scary, and the way she was kind of twisting around Valeria, and as Mego, our great friend and artist, wrote on Twitter, there is no het explanation for that.
No.
War Within is going to be the most gloriously gay expansion of all time, and I'm completely here for it in every way.
Yep.
There's just no explanation for Xalatath, her mere existence.
No.
And I love that.
No.
I'm really, really happy with it.
She just has that power. She just has that something.
But the big cinematic then was one that we'd already seen a little snippet of before, which was, the destruction of Dalaran and the death of Khadgar. Now, this hit you very hard, right?
Well, firstly, because it was such an effective little shot. I mean, let's map this out. The whole kind of encounter, the whole Xalatath, I presume, bit, great. He tries to blast her, and of course she overpowers him. He zaps Illyria away through a whole floor portal, which I love. I feel like we do not use enough of those.
I feel like what he did was he has taken what mages do at the end of any raid night, which is put 6 portals on top of each other.
Exactly.
Like the portal roulette.
He's like,
where are you going to end up? Is it going to be Valdrakken?
Exactly.
Is it going to be old Dalaran?
Exactly.
Old Dalaran now.
God, he's such a mage.
And because he's the best mage.
He is.
Because he's the biggest, baddest mage, oldest mage. He has developed that technique to a T, where now it just appears underneath people's feet, and that needs to be a new hero talent, clearly. If that's a thing mages can do, why not? And it's so goofy.
Yep.
I love that he saves Illyria's life with the most goofy move you can possibly do.
Yeah.
It's like, are you standing on the floor? No, you're not.
No. And then, of course, Xalatath activates a kind of disintegration field, and we see Khadgar's hand slowly evaporating into a million little particles, and then,
But what does he say before that? He says, this is not the real fight.
Yeah.
Now, bear that in mind. It's quite important to my amazing theory.
Make a mental note of that.
Okay.
And then cut to Illyria watching from below, and the entire city of Dalaran erupts in a puff of purple smoke.
It implodes. It implodes. It looks like it's exploding, and it's kind of veering like the Titanic, and then it just goes like that.
Yeah.
And it actually looks like, you know, that heavy CGI cinematic that we got, the kind of like the I guess you call it like a sizzle reel, right?
Yeah.
Where you see Xal'atath and the orbs and stuff, and they had that amazing shot of the World Soul, and it had the void like encroaching on the World Soul.
Yeah.
It looked like that. It looked
Ooh,
like,
yeah,
and you know,
it did-
Dalaran
did.
was all in like little bits and stuff, and all that talk in the beta where they were like, "Where's all the wreckage of Dalaran on the beach? There's not much. There's a couple of towers and a little building and stuff." It's like, yeah, 'cause it's evaporated. There's no more Dalaran.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there you go. Okay, and now this is like the most important question, which we'll put to you. Khadgar.
Yeah.
Is Khadgar an alive wizard? Or is he the inverse of that? Basically, will we see Khadgar again in the War Within?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
No,
There are
nice
some
strong no out
naysayers,
there,
and
yeah,
I've said it
some
quite
no's,
happily
yeah.
as well.
Yeah. No.
Enjoyed the no a bit too much. No, he's out of here.
God.
See ya, Khadgar. Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? So during the alpha, obviously everyone was talking very sadly about Khadgar with a tear in their eye. And that was an amazing cutscene as well, where Jaina and
Oh.
Anduin talked about it afterwards. Like,
Yeah, they're
incredible.
like,
Especially
"Where's
from I
Khadgar?"
have
And
never
then just
seen
silence.
Thrall looking so good.
I know.
So cool. I'm looking forward to doing some more questing and see. But like, yeah, I would have, if you'd asked me last week, does Khadgar make it out of the opening scenario of the War Within? I'd have said no, absolutely not. No way. He's a goner. That is our Varian moment, right? You know, which still sticks with me today.
Yeah.
It's one of those pieces of media, the Varian death in Legion, that I got up early to watch it, and it hit me so hard. It like actually kind of, you know,
Yeah.
knocked
You were
me for
shaken.
6. Yeah, and I went to work, and I was like, well, I can't stop thinking about it. It's really horrible.
Yeah.
And the only scene that's ever done that before for me in anything was the scene in Game of Thrones where Pedro Pascal comes up against the mountain
Yeah.
and doesn't come out of it very well.
No, he does
And the
not.
ending of that fight is seared on my brain, and like that really shook me. And I still think about it sometimes when my brain hates me. And it's the same with Varian, and like I think about that sometimes. So I was expecting something similar for Khadgar, who is, if anything, a more important character than Varian. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Arguably.
Having seen the
More important than my
cinematic
heart.
now, though,
Yeah.
I'm convinced 1,000,000% that he's alive and he's coming back in the War Within.
Now, you don't need to convince me. I think there's some telltale signs here. One, I felt like his goodbye, it was impactful, right? His whole little, you know, this is not the real fight. And then,
With
you
the
know.
sweat on his
and then-
brow.
oh. You know, it was impactful, but it wasn't quite this character is dead forever kind of scene for me. Also, we don't
They didn't
see-
milk it enough, is basically
They
what you're
didn't
saying.
exactly. They didn't milk it enough, and they love to milk it. So you know, there's no body. No one apart from Xal'atath saw what happens, right?
Xal'atath and the audience, another bit of
Exactly,
dramatic irony as well.
exactly.
So, like, everyone down below is just assuming that Khadgar bit it, and we are kind of as well. So when the big, like, voidy balls started coming for him, Xal'atath using, like, legit Shadow Priest spells as well, by the
So
way, which
cool.
you love to see. And he kind of put his hand out, which, you know, you read as a kind of, oh no, the big purple ball. But it was more of a kind of
was more of
a
a-
reach forward. And as his
was,
hand went
yeah.
into it, it did kind of disintegrate, which he
Yeah.
didn't seem very happy about.
No.
And Xal'atath seemed pretty happy about, you know, because that was her whole thing. And it did have echoes, you can't help it, of Gul'dan and Varian. That thing of
course, yeah.
the way she kind of well, she floats, which is terrifying.
Oh,
but she
I
kind of
love the
floats
floating.
over and, you know, starts just manifesting a big old growing void ball, which is terrifying as well. I love how scary she's become in the
She's
last couple of
so
weeks.
freaky.
So good. But here's my theory. So my theory is, my reasoning is this. There are suspicions, for those of you who follow the data mining community, there are suspicions that at some point during the War Within, we will have very important interactions with the Ethereals. Okay, if I'm correct.
My
Everyone's favorite
favorite
Bandgy
future
Arcane
playable
boys.
race.
Yeah, exactly.
For
well,
sure.
this is the thinking, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
exactly. Oh, and Ian Hazzikostas in our interview did confirm that Ethereals were going to be a playable race in the next patch of the game.
Wait.
I mean, maybe he did. I can't remember.
You
but
just
I
made
guess
that up.
I guess we'll find out when we publish the video. It was amazing, really. It was wild. He was just like dropping these bombs.
Yeah. Can you
and he was like,
imagine?
so playable Ethereals next patch. player housing, the half patch after that.
Yeah.
We've got it all geared up, ready to go.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Tuskar. Something about Tuskar, but I can't remember.
Something about
I just have to
Tuskar.
wait until the video comes out. But I'm really excited for you guys to see that interview. It's going to be really, really good. Like, can't wait for Wowhead to write that one up.
Meanwhile,
I think
someone
that's
at
what it was.
Wowhead is
I was just-
frantically. That was a joke. That was definitely a joke. It is my dream that we can get playable ethereals.
What was that? There was a bit of the interview he said, like, please don't publish that bit. So it could have been that, I guess.
It's possible.
But yeah, maybe. I think that was the bit where he was talking. No, so there is like a suggestion that the ethereals are going to be very important at some point in the War Within, which makes sense, right? Because we've already had Locust Walker talking about Dimensius, the Void God, that destroyed like the ethereal world and turned them all into the ethereal beings. They were like normal dudes, man. And then Dimensius came along, he was like zap, zap, pow, pow, and they were like, our bodies, but their bodies got decimated and destroyed. But they used their arcane power to become beings of the arcane, right?
Yeah, like foxy beings of the arcane.
Yeah, and like, so when Khadgar had his scene in the opening, you know, my brain went to an incredibly intelligent place, which was, you know, maybe he's going to do the same thing as the ethereals. Maybe, because he's such like a super powerful arcane mage.
Yeah.
His body will get destroyed by void power, just like the ethereals, but he will be able to manifest as just an arcane being because he's so powerful with arcane. So maybe the next time we see him, he'll be like ethereal Khadgar in bandages and stuff.
Will he be kind of halfway between Khadgar and ethereal?
Yeah,
like
because you'd have to be able to see his face properly. Yeah,
it's not
like,
just
I think his face would manifest in like arcane power, you know. And I thought, well, that would be really cool, and I think everyone would love that if Khadgar came back like as a recognizably Khadgar ethereal, but with bandages and stuff. I think that'd be really cool. I think that's actually very likely to happen. But then my brain thought, what if he already has?
What?
What if Locust Walker, Aleria's like mentor, sensei, void teacher, what if he is Khadgar from the future, who has already manifested in this arcane form and has then zapped back into the past, because don't forget they met in the Twisting Nether where timey-wimey is like all over the place, and he was like, I reckon, and he does a bit of a Doctor Strange, right? And he's like, I reckon if I train up Aleria to be super badass in the Void, she will have a chance against Xalatath when the time comes.
Right.
So, having made up this completely nonsense headcanon, what we do then in the lore community is we go back over, you know, the history of the character in question, and what we do is we try and bend and twist anything we can to fit our stupid hypothesis. This is how we work.
This is
my
we
thought
function.
process. Yeah, exactly. So having decided in my tiny little mind that Khadgar is Locust Walker is Khadgar from the future, I was like, well, okay, where can we find the proof? Where are the things that disprove this, and how can I rubbish them? So we go back. And another thing that happens in the cinematic, and this is going to blow your minds, because I know what you're thinking. I can see your faces. I can see the disappointment on your face here. It was like, wait, I thought this was a Mr. GM podcast. What am I doing here? And also you're thinking, this is nonsense, Tally. It doesn't make any sense. There's a million things that blow this out of the water. But I think I'm going to blow your mind, right? So in the cinematic, something that you almost blink and you miss it, when she gets her like voidy octopus tendrils and goes pow, 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 pow onto Khadgar, and he does that amazing like army movie kind of
it's
I
good.
love that.
It's
so
good.
cool. And Atiesh, his staff breaks. You know, it snaps. So, you know, Khadgar, if he were to survive, and if he were to become an ethereal type person, and if he were to go and like become Locust Walker and need a new body and stuff, he would need a new staff. What happens in the first expansion where we meet Locust Walker? We meet him with Aleria, and one of the first things we do is we go to the Seat of the Triumvirate dungeon. That's the one that you never ever queued for in Mythic Plus. That's the one where if you saw people like advertising, you went, no, it's horrible. And I guarantee they're going to bring it back in War Within as a Mythic Plus dungeon in the season at some point as well. I know it's like, skip this season, no thanks. Yeah. But the first boss in the second boss in the Seat of the Triumvirate dungeon, Locust Walker's like, this dude has something that I'd quite like. I thought he meant a body. But we take that guy out, and he drops his staff. We're not allowed to loot it, because Locust Walker is all over that stuff. He's like, yes, this will do nicely.
Ooh.
And I guess it's there to like show how cheeky and dangerous Locust Walker is.
He takes your loot. He doesn't
exactly.
you to loot the boss.
He actually ninja'd that stuff. Yeah, totally. He's not a hunter. What's going on?
Yeah, that's my job.
Yeah, totally, exactly. I've played with you long enough. It's like, Evie is not going to like this. But he took the staff. And you know, now I think back on that moment, and I go, well, yeah, Atiesh was destroyed, so he needs a new staff. Do you like that?
You might be onto something.
Do you like that?
You might be onto something.
This is how I know that this theory is like the badassest theory of all time, because it's the only one that when I've said it, Evitel didn't instantly go, shut up. Get out.
It's true. It's true.
Download the NVIDIA drivers. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Stop
Sally.
talking to me about this stuff.
No, genuinely, that one made me stop and go, wait a second.
Wait a cotton-picking minute.
I like that. Not only because it combines two of my favorite characters, Khadgar and Locust Walker, into one.
It would be so popular, that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Not only that, but yeah, it is such a delightful crackpot theory. Now, we have some people in chat who are like, shut up, Tally.
Are they rubbishing me? My own chat?
Just accept that he's gone. It's over.
Unsubscribe. It's Nobble and Pyro for me forever from now on. I'm actually hurt. Okay. Now I know that, you know, again, I can see a look of suspicion on the faces of people in this audience here, and I can read it in the chat. Quite hurtful, quite rude, probably against terms of service, and I bet that one of the pieces of evidence that they would use against my theory is that, but Taliesin, Dimensius talks about being from Koresh. Yes. Dimensius talks about how his world was devoured. Locust Walker talks about how his world was devoured by Dimensius.
Yes.
Which is such a great name. Can we spend a moment to just appreciate how brilliant Void Lord names are?
Oh, yeah. They have to be.
They've all got names like Nothingus, Nullius,
Ultimate Voidus,
Page 404us. It's so cool.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Void Lords canonically are the kind of, we do this a lot. It's like there's a big bad, there's a bigger bad, there's the biggest bad. And the Void Lords are, in theory, the kind of original big baddies.
They kind of got retconned into being like the biggest bads in the build up to Legion.
Yeah.
When Chronicle came out and they were like, oh yeah, Sargeras, he was just really scared of the Void, and kind of sort of repositioned that there. But and I think they're kind of doing even more repositioning with the first ones and stuff like that. But anyway, Dimensius did in fact destroy Koresh and eat it and stuff. And so if Locust Walker indeed said, my homeworld Koresh got devoured by Dimensius, that would be evidence against my amazing theory, and I'd look like a right Nana, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I'd look like an idiot. I'd look so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But Evie...
Yeah.
He doesn't say that.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't, Evie.
What does he say?
He says, my world was destroyed by Dimensius.
Wow.
Not my world, Koresh. You just put that in there. You just assumed, and you know what assuming does?
What?
Makes you an ass. I said that wrong, but you know what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I knew what you meant.
Well, no, he says his world was devoured by Dimensius, the all-consuming, all of it. He never comes for seconds.
Ooh, so
just to go out. So his world was in fact devoured by Dimensius, so he's not Khadgar, right? Mm-hmm. But I said he's Khadgar from the future.
Right.
So maybe the world that he's talking about that was devoured by Dimensius is Azeroth. And that's why he's coming back. That's how the expansion ends, right? That's how his timeline ends. Is Azeroth got devoured by Dimensius? Now, I obviously you've all watched my Who is the Final Boss of what's the expansion called? War Within.
Naturally.
Video where I say categorically, big prediction, but I'm not scared of making big predictions. Not me. I never sit on the fence. I say that I'm pretty certain Dimensius is going to be the last boss of the expansion, and wouldn't that fit beautifully well? Where, you know, in future Khadgar's timeline, he did, the whole of Azeroth got devoured by Dimensius. And so Locust Walker has come back. He's been training Alleria to be super badass in the Void, specifically to stop that happening this time.
Yep.
So when we fight Dimensius at the end of the expansion, we win. And then the last we see of Locust Walker, Void Khadgar, is he takes off his bandage
Yeah, and reveals his face.
and reveals like purple Khadgar underneath, and he's like,
yeah.
and then like disappears like Back to the Future style. You know?
Is this why Khadgar has been getting like gradually buffer every expansion so that he can match Locust Walker?
Well, he hasn't done much in the last couple of
stature and
expansions.
physique.
He's just had a lot of gym time.
He's just at the gym, yeah.
Totally.
You know what?
Those big Karazhan books.
Yeah. You know what, Tally? I actually this theory does something for me.
Well, this fills me with hope. When you
Yeah.
say does something.
Yeah, it does something.
Okay, no monkfish for you tonight. We're on holiday.
It definitely sparks something like for me. Like I can. It's so out there that it's almost possible.
So I feel like I should probably clarify at this point. My approach to speculation is that I don't care if it's wrong. Like, I'm an old man, okay? I'm 41 years old. I've seen so many things. I've been wrong so many times. And it just doesn't matter. And I want to make it very clear that I place no stock or cred or, reputation on this theory at all, unless it's right. Mm-hmm. If it's right, you'll never hear the end of it. If it's right, I'm going to get a tattoo, like, on my chest here.
All right.
Saying, Taliesin was right specifically about his theory that Locust Walker was Khadgar from the future, come back to stop Dimensius from devouring Azeroth, not Koresh, like a lot of people assumed he was talking about in the Harbinger, like, Dark Heart scenes.
That's a great tattoo idea.
And don't forget it.
Yeah.
Big letters over my belly.
Absolutely.
Which will only get better, bigger as time goes on, as my son never fails to point out. I love cuddling you, Daddy. Your belly is so cuddly.
It's so soft and cuddly.
Get back to your room. No dinner again. Brush your teeth.
Speaking of dinner, yeah, chat seems to agree that while I had the monkfish for dinner last night, you clearly had the mushrooms.
This is an amazing theory. Okay, I don't need to bother with chat. I've never liked chat. They've always been the worst. Those guys suck. Except, do we any super chats this stream?
Yes, we have.
Okay,
yeah,
so apart from the super chat guys, that stream is the worst. They suck. They're the worst. I hate them. No, they're cool. But most of them suck. There's a chance for the audience here at Gamescom 2024, live from Cologne, Germany, to redeem themselves. Can we get like a show of hands, an eye, if you think that theory is good?
Yeah?
It's a good theory? Well,
Hey.
you can't see this chat, but literally, there's 5,000 people in this audience. Every single one of them has raised their hands, and do you know what? They're just like, they're not even like excited, they're just nodding sagely. They're like,
they know it's true in their heart.
fair play. Like, he got me. I'm sold. I'm like, so
Yeah.
yeah, screw you, chat.
Yeah, and also I have to give a big thank you to anyone who is listening or walking by or tuning in who is not invested in WoW or any of.
You're doing
these-
so well.
You guys are
I
really
believe in
brilliant.
you.
Like,
You're doing
genuinely,
great.
thank you everyone for turning up today. This is such a treat, and it's so good to see some friendly, familiar faces here. Lots of new faces.
I think we've paid them back with that incredible theory.
Well, I think so.
But I don't care if it's wrong. And actually, the thing is, I don't even think it's like entirely right, if I'm completely honest. I would be very surprised if that is what actually happened.
I think what's right is Khadgar is not dead. The other
Well, that's
bit
obvious. Yeah,
might
I would
not be right.
I would
but
put-
yeah,
I would
some
put
of that
our
is
house
definitely
on
right.
that. In fact, I already
Don't
did.
do it. Oh, too late.
So fingers crossed. We wanted to move anyway, right?
No.
We spent all the time on the kitchen just to sell it. Someone online gave us grief the other day because we own a £2 million house.
We don't.
We don't own a
We
£2 million
don't.
house. But like, that's the thing about being on the internet. Every now and then you just see people talking about you in the weirdest way. And they're like, well, of course they got early access. They can just drop £2 million on a new house.
Yeah, it was like, Chris Metzen phoned them up and was like, I've got private, early access just for you. That's not how it works.
No, it's not how it works.
But the
but yeah.
joys and tribulations
So
of
I don't
being
think it's
online.
true, but I would bet my house,
Sure.
your house, on Khadgar still being alive, and I think it's a really, really good shout that when he does come back in the War Within, which he will, like maybe, like when we meet the Ethereals in like 11.2 or something, they go, you seem very sad, and we're like, yeah, our friend Khadgar, he died, and it's like, hey, we can help you out
Yeah,
there, and like
yeah.
we put, or something like that. But I'm convinced he's going to come back, probably as a kind of ethereal kind of guy, and that's, if I had to bet on one specific like prediction,
Yeah.
speculation, that would be it. But I just love the idea that Locust Walker is future Khadgar.
I'm into
It's
it.
like so Doctor Strange. It's so like Infinity War. I love
Yeah.
that stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm just really into it.
I
which
can
is,
tell.
Yeah, I know. And like I'm gonna be so happy. It's gonna be like my whole thing for the next 2 years. And when it's proved wrong, I'm just gonna quietly drop it.
Yeah. No
Just
one
gonna
will
like
notice.
just gonna kind of like not mention it again.
Everyone will have forgotten that
We
it
call that
even
in the trade.
happens.
I'm just gonna Afrasiabi it. And like Metzen will be there going, I don't know the guy, I don't know his theories. What? Locust Walker? No. We're not getting invited back.
On that
It's
note,
all right,
we've
we got our shill money for the month, I'm fine.
We've got 10 minutes.
we
of
have
the
to do some
podcast
super
remaining.
chats.
We do have to do some super chats. We will get to those in a second. Do you want to give like your top headline from our nice chat with Ian Hazzikostas?
Yeah, playable
Yeah.
housing, playable ethereals, like free game time for a year for anyone who was playing on launch.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a really good. I was not expecting to get that much juicy stuff. I just wanted to talk about his beard. I think
true.
that's why he gave away so much, because he did not want to talk about his beard.
It's true.
You know, I was like, no, I want to talk about your beard more, and he was like, playable ethereals. Do with it what you will.
So we had a really nice chat with Ian actually, and it was a pleasure to talk to him just about the state of the game, the state of his kind of role, how it's changed over time, and how he feels about where things are. And yeah, my biggest takeaway was the sense of like pride in the team, and that they have made something that feels good, that people are enjoying, but that also like we talked a lot about how. The team has become like democratized. So the reason we're seeing all these really cool features like war bands and even things like Plunderstorm, like all these features both in and out of like Warcraft popping up, is that people have ideas and they become made. So like Xal'atath, for example, there was no kind of top-down decision for Xal'atath to become the main baddie, which debatable whether she's a baddie. She's a baddie, but there was no one person who made that decision. It was a kind of like someone in the team was like, hey, she's cool. People loved the Blade. They love Xal'atath. Like, can we do something with her? And that's how she has become, everywhere. You see her everywhere now.
That was like a big takeaway from that Chris Metzen interview as well, when he said, if you saw that one with Terry and Gregory, where he came in and he was like, one of the biggest surprises when I came back was how democratized the entire kind of creative process is now, and how collaborative it is. And it took a bit of a while of getting used to. And that definitely happened kind of in the dark days of Shadowlands. And you felt the sea change happening there. And yeah, it's awesome that that's how the team is working now.
Yeah.
We're going to have to start these super chats, though.
Yes, we've only got a couple.
Oh, good. That's all right, then.
Yeah. And none of them contain questions. They
Oh,
are
okay.
all. They are all.
You were doing
Tally.
some good stalling there.
Yeah, they're all Tally. Stop talking.
Fair enough.
Stop this theory.
Okay.
Tally, what are you most excited about in the War Within?
Well, okay, so the obvious answer is obviously Xal'atath. And that's not even. It started off as a kind of a meme, the whole Xal'atath thing, but I think they've built her up so well in the build up to this expansion, and I think they've like given her so much love and so much attention, and like a really cool model. That's one of the things we were asked about Ian yesterday. I was like, was there ever any other model for her body on the table during BFA? Like, was someone like, she should probably be an orc or something like that? It's like, no, it was always going to be an elf, right? It's just like, that's what the quest designer put in, and it's what it is. But I think like, he was talking about learning the lessons from Shadowlands, learning the lessons from the jailer, right? And going, that was perfectly reasonable criticism, the way everyone hated Zoval and the way that they built up Zoval or didn't build up Zoval, and the kind of the negative effect that had on the overarching storyline of the expansion. And they've so very clearly learned their lessons from Shadowlands on that, and it is the complete opposite with Xal'atath, because she's everywhere. And she's much nicer to see everywhere than Zoval, than the jailer as well. Like, she's a much cooler design, and she really does permeate the story and the game. I don't know how like far people have got in their questing and stuff here, but she is this constant presence, She's always there, she's always popping up, being devious, being delightful, and the devs are always really careful when they're talking about her to kind of, they do refer to her as a villain, but
They do, always.
They do, but they also are very aware that she's popular, but not in an ironic way. You know, I think it started with Xal'atath, where there was a lot of memeage with the Naifu thing, and she's my girl, she's brilliant. And as a Shadow Priest player, I felt that incredibly strongly, and I'm very, very excited when she came back. But I think it has moved beyond that now, and I think there is like a genuine appreciation for a really good baddie, and that happened to me, when you had that 2.5D cinematic that they put out, which, that's their words, not mine, and she was like genuinely scary. Up until then, she'd been like a smirking kind of, you know, temptress, bit sexy, bit foxy, bit mysterious, and then that animation was like full-on horror mode, and you know, like using horror movie conventions and references and stuff. It was like full-on Ringu when she came out of the portal and stuff like that, and I love that. And you're seeing that in these cinematics here now. So I don't know how that holds throughout the rest of the expansion, but I think she's just a genuinely really interesting baddie. We still know nothing about where she comes from, really. We know nothing about who she is and what her deal is. Her plan is like really vague in that, but I'm actually incredibly invested in it. Whereas with the Jailer, I was kind of frustrated. And, but like I'm genuinely invested in her story. And if they do pull a complete 180 with this and be like, oh, her plan was to save the world all along, I feel that would be the least annoyed that I've ever been with that trope.
Yeah.
I feel I would still be a little bit annoyed.
You know,
but it would be like the least annoyed that I would ever be.
I could see it happening. I could see it happening. This is good. So let's jump into our super chats. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in on the internet as well as being here today. We've got a couple from Rico. Hello, Zally. Your name is now Zally.
That's me now.
Zally and Evie, cheers and love. Do we have super chats section today? We do indeed. And then Zally Essen was right.
Nice.
There you go. You got some support.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just looking forward to when I am proved right about this, and I'm just made like not a kind of a WoW lore community god, not anything so craven as that.
No.
Just like king.
a princeling.
Not deity, but like overlord.
Yeah.
Something like that,
Yeah.
you know. And like, just want to be in the position where if anyone else wants to ever publish a lore theory, they have to ask me first. And I think that's where we're going to get with this theory.
Yeah.
We're going to the moon on this one.
Yeah. We've got another one from Godfather Y2K Gaming saying, I don't want to suck. Because you said everyone in chat sucks.
Well, they do.
Except for the super
Oh,
chats.
well,
No.
I mean, they can redeem themselves by being on our side on this one.
Oh, no,
yeah.
they are delightful. Thank you, chat, as ever. And one from Buddy. Oh, great to see you, Buddy. Happy Gamescom. Good to see you folks rocking speculation about this Warcraft Direct.
Oh, yeah, we haven't had the Warcraft Direct. That's what we should have talked about in this podcast.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Ian is going to mosey on stage in his cord short. Oh, he's going home. He's not going to be there, is he?
No, he's gone. He's gone.
Who is doing the Warcraft Direct then?
I don't know what Warcraft Direct is.
No,
it was just
Well,
announced.
it could be pre-recorded.
It
Gotta
could,
be, right?
It could be something. It was
Yeah.
something that Johanna Ferries mentioned in kind of one of the early interviews, and she said that Warcraft Direct is coming.
Wow. Okay.
No elaboration. So
sounds like playable theory, doesn't it?
Is it?
We better get our video out quick. Better get that interview out before we get scooped.
Yeah. Is it like a regular kind of like, but you know?
Well, I always think back, and we've got to
news
wrap this up,
show
right?
or
But
something? Yeah.
I always think back to like the Legion reveals, where Legion was out. It'd been out for like a couple of days even, and everyone was enjoying it. Great expansion. And then Ian Hazzikostas pranced on stage at some games convention, and he was like, yeah, here's what 7.1 is. It's coming out in like 4 weeks. Here's what 7.2 is. Oh, and by the way, we're going to go to August and 7.3. And everyone went nuts. It was incredible. It was wild.
It was it was a big drop.
He's so saucy. He loves those big drops, and I just wouldn't put it past him to do something similar.
Exactly.
But we have to wrap this up.
We
Sorry
do.
that we wasted a few minutes at the beginning there, getting all our camera and streaming and everything sorted.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone watching the stream who had to jump to a different stream to start watching it.
And
I
then
appreciate
who
that
had
as well.
their eardrums absolutely blown when we fixed
Yeah,
the sound. Thank you guys.
exactly,
Really
but-
appreciate you being here with us today, both on the internet as ever. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
you
viewers
for
in
not
chat.
allowing us to be humiliated by empty seats and stuff. I really, really
Likewise,
appreciate
everyone
that.
here, thank you for
Very
showing
good
up.
audience members as well. Like
Yes.
wrapped putting a lot of
nodding,
effort into like
clapping.
receiving. Yeah,
and then
that's
they
excellent.
all applauded.
Yeah,
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 exactly.
and everyone clapped.
And everyone, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we'll probably do a little kind of like meaty greety thing out
Yeah,
here.
come
If
and
anyone
say hello.
wants to come say hello, we'll just pack up our gear first. If anyone just wants to stick around and say hello, that'd be awesome. But thank you for everyone at home. Thank you for everyone at Gamescom. From me, Taliesin.
And me, Evitel.
Until next time, cheerio.
Bye.